This wasn't pretty. This was very frantic. It wasn't vintage. But this right there shows how teams have very serious work and win trophies. This is your Arsenal match reaction. Welcome back to Love Arsenal, and tonight is going to be a very late stream because obviously you can see how elated we are being the men that we have just made it to the final of the Carabao Cup. After that second final since the FA Cup he won back in 2020, which is quite amazing. But what's key in this performance was just how Arsenal did very well to hold Chelsea. Basically, the key work was done in the first leg where we basically smashed them up in their home ground, you know. But obviously, we needed the second leg to set things up. And the second leg came tonight, and Arsenal was very mature. Arsenal was very composed, and Arsenal did what was enough to get all 3 points. 3 points? I just to get to the finals. So let's just, without further ado, let's take some time out to just see how this game panned out. Yeah, the headphones are in. So let's have the confirmed lineup. This was a game that we expected to go strong, but Arteta, had to make do with the challenges he had around injuries and of course with the team that he had in place. So we had Kepa Arrizabalaga in goal. I actually wanted David Raya to be in goal, bearing in mind that in the first leg against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, Kepa was quite shaky in some moments, but Arteta stuck with Kepa. Fair play to him. It's quite good. It's very interesting to see what's going to happen in the final, whether Raya will come in, but till then, we don't get to that bridge, we'll cross it. The back line was Hinkapie, Gabriel, Saliba, and of course Julian Timber. While in midfield, we had Kai Havertz return to the bench with Eberechi Eze playing in the attacking midfield role. Strangely, Odegaard was not on the bench, which was quite interesting, and I really hope that he's okay. I expect to see him on the bench at the very least. In attack, Trossard got a rest, and we brought on Madueke for Saka. Clearly, that injury that Saka had in the build-up to the Leeds United game is quite bad. And if the reports I read are true, Saka might be out for 4 weeks, which will see him miss the Chelsea game that he missed tonight. It will also see him miss the Sunderland game in the weekend. He might also miss the Brentford game in midweek, and also miss the Wolves game and potentially the Wigan game. The target right now, from what I read, is that he's going to make the North London derby, which is quite far. And for Chelsea, Liam Rosinio, the tech bro, or PE teacher, or fashion designer, as other fans call him, played the 3-5-2. Sanchez was in goal, Hato, Chaloba, and Fofana were in central defense. He had two wing backs in the front of Malo Gusto and Cucurella, while there was a three-pronged midfield of Enzo Fernandez, Andre Santos, and of course the ruffian, Moises Caicedo. In attack, he used Joao Pedro and Liam Delap. But when the game started, it kind of changed a bit because Delap spent more time on the right, and Cucurella looked like the most advanced player on the left-hand side. So maybe when they were not with the board, it was like a 3-5-2, but when they were with the board, it was like a 4-3-3. And it was a good game tactically. Now let's look at the stats. Well, in all honesty, Chelsea had better stats. Like it really mattered. You can see obviously this is from Footmob, amazing website that shares stats and all that. Chelsea had 14 shots, Arsenal had 5. But from the shot map, you can see that Chelsea had only 2 on target, while Arsenal also had 2 on target. Big chances, Arsenal had 2, while Chelsea had 1. They both missed 1 big chance each. Obviously, Arsenal had more fouls, Chelsea had more corners, Chelsea had more shots off target, more block shots. But in terms of XG, Arsenal had bigger XG, and basically that came from the Kai Havertz goal, 0.91 to Chelsea 0.68. Our XG in open play was 0.81, and of course the XG in set plays was 0.10, which was quite shocking, knowing fully well how good we are in set plays. But the stats just show that Chelsea kind of dominated the game in all honesty. But does that matter? What matters is what you see on the board, which was the 1-0 win that was really enough for Arsenal. So from a tactical standpoint, Arteta chose control over chaos. Obviously, Chelsea were the one that were chasing this game, so they expected to be in the front foot most of the time. But one key thing was that from early on, you could see Arteta's fingerprints on this. Our defensive shape was very compact. We had intelligent pressing triggers, and even when we had the ability for risk taking, our one-on-one duels were very good. Hincapié was one that played very well. Gabriel had a couple of clumsy moments, but in midfield, Declan Rice was a monster. He had an amazing game. Zubimendi also controlled the game very well. And of course, Iberichi had a couple of neat touches here and there. Due to the fact that Arsenal was more on the back foot, our attack didn't really cook as expected. But there were a couple of half chances. Martinelli had one where he was one-on-one with the goalie, but he didn't connect it to, I think it was blocked by Gusto. And there's also a chance that was fashioned for him where he was in behind the defense. He crossed along the byline to Gyökeres, that had been the better option, but he chose to play the ball back, and the ball evaded both Eze and Rice. It kind of led some groans in the Emirates crowd, but these are kind of things you'd expect in moments like this. So, Chelsea had some good chances, but mainly from outside the box. Enzo Fernandez had a couple of attempts on goal. There was a good one that Kepa made a brilliant save for, and all that. But in the game, Arsenal were very controlled. Despite what Chelsea threw at them, they did enough, to get what was required. And more importantly, Arsenal's defensive structure and discipline was on point. Pierre Nkapie was on fire on the game. Like on the other hand, on the right hand side, Julian Timber was a beast, as you would expect. Even when Chelsea brought on Estevao and put him on the left, Julian Timber didn't allow him rest. And even when Estevao switched to the right hand side when they brought on Garnacho, it was basically the same thing. Our fullbacks were amazing. In central defense, Gabriel and Saliba, they made mincemeat of João Pedro. Yes, he had a couple of nice moves here and there, pirouettes here and there, blah, blah, blah. But it was not enough because Saliba and Gabriel basically bust him all over the entire place, which was quite important. Further up the pitch, Arsenal didn't do that well, but we maintained our structure, we maintained the right defense, and our defending was very mature and very, very, important. They didn't give too many silly fouls. Yes, there were a couple of fouls here and there, especially from Gabriel, but what was important was how we played. Of course, we also need to give credit to the midfield. They screened the defense well, recycled possession intelligently, and really frustrated Chelsea by denying them reading. That's how the game was won. Arsenal did not allow Chelsea to breathe. Declan Rice was a monster. Like that guy's engine is just something else, And we were able to slow the game down. We knew when to press. We knew when to keep the ball. We didn't know what you see from young team. It shows how we're ready for knockout football, and it was quite important, So I'm very, very happy with the performance of the lads. Eberechi didn't impress me, but off the ball he was decent. He had a couple of good opportunities, where he was able to defend for his team. Madueke got a better of Cucurella in some parts, but his final ball was quite terrible. Too many crosses that went close to the goalie, and he didn't really gain anything from them. Of course, we had a couple of corners, especially from the left-hand side, when Madueke sent out that they were looking very dangerous. But obviously, Chelsea kind of dealt with it well. And when they had theirs, there was just one moment when Kepa dropped the ball, but thankfully, it didn't lead to a goal. Speaking of a goal, late in the game, the 97th minute, Arsenal killed off the contest with a goal from Kai Havertz. It was a nice breakaway, and Declan Rice did so well to get the ball, move up the pitch, and use his left foot to cross a lovely ball to Havertz. Havertz was one-on-one with Sanchez, took him on his stride, dribbled him, and basically shifted the ball into an unguarded net. Havertz came on as a sub for Gabriel Jesus, and he did what was required to get the goal that sent us to Wembley. So over both legs, it was basically two wins from Arsenal on both sides, and that was important. I'm very happy that our record against Chelsea has been exemplary. I think in our last 10 games we've won 7, drawn 3, lost none. Just shows the dominance we have over that team. We usually see dominance against Man U, but unfortunately we dropped the ball there. Going to player ratings, Kepa gets an 8 from me. He did very well in the game, made some couple of important saves, and he had good control. He was also a good centre back. Received lots of passes from the defensive line and did well to build up. When he needed to clear the ball, he cleared. When he needed to, play a simple pass, he also did. Our fullbacks were amazing. Ngapi gets an 8 from me. He was basically one of his best games at the national colours. He even had an opportunity where it's a fashion from him where he fired a shot that was saved by Sanchez, but obviously it went straight to Gabriel, who could not control it well. Timber gets a 7, very steady performance from him as you'd expect. Saliba and Gabriel also get a 7. Good defensive performance. They didn't allow Pedro get any chance. They really harried him, bullied him, made life a living hell for him. He kept trying to call out to the ref to help him, but the ref was having none of that. Declan Rice gets a 9. He put up another monster performance, closing down like crazy, creating, screening the defense, protecting his back line, and even at the end, put an assist. In this kind of game in FPL, you'd have had an amazing haul because they'd have been death call for sure, assist, and of course, bonus points. Zumendi did very well too, alongside Declan Rice. And this is basically recovering from the back row. He had the Manchester United came to town, but our attack was very, very still. Both Zubimendi, Noni Madueke, Izzy, Martinelli, Yokeres, they all get a 6 from me. They didn't do enough. And I really hope that they do better when Sunderland comes to town. I'm guessing that Odegaard might be fit enough to start the game, but it was good to see AJ get some minutes. He's someone that we've been clamoring to see play more, even though his performance wasn't really all that. So what does this mean? Arsenal are in the finals of the Carabao Cup. The final is going to be on the 22nd of March in Wembley, but there's the business of the other semi-finals to contend with. So we're going to cross our legs and just watch and chill with our cigars and our beer, watching Newcastle take on Man City. Newcastle would have been more interesting, but unfortunately, they lost at home to City 2-0 in the first leg. It was Czechia and was it Reinders? I can't remember. So going into the Etihad, 2 goes down. It's going to be an uphill task. Yes, City hasn't been in good form. Well, Newcastle has struggled as well. They lost 4-1 to Liverpool just over the weekend. Where Man City do 3-3 with drew 2-2 actually with Tottenham. So our next opponent is Sunderland. The last time we beat Sunderland at home was in 2017. We beat them 2-0 with 2 goals from Alexis Sanchez. When we visited Stadium of Light early in the campaign, I think it was in November, we were close to winning that game, but we considered a very late goal to Brian Brobby. So I'm guessing revenge will be on the cards. Okay, so this was a quick match reaction stream for me. It's 5 minutes past 12 here, Lagos. I need to sleep, man, but I will dream about Wembley tonight because of what Arsenal has done. So, guys, what are your thoughts on the game? Please drop your comments below and don't forget to like and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next video.